I just turned $15,000 into $250,000. What's up, guys? It's Casey McKeown back again with another video this week, and this has been a long time coming. If you've been following my channel for the last couple months, you saw that I have decided to sell one of my properties, which, to be honest with you, has been an absolute nightmare, but I'll get to that in a little bit. But I'm selling a property. Technically, it's my first property. It was a duplex that I bought in the summer of 2017, shortly after I got licensed in real estate and moved to Dallas, Texas, but I only lived there for about 5 months before I moved to my second property. Since then, it's been renting out, and I had a little bit of a hiccup when it came to selling it, but the good news is that's moving forward, and the biggest news of all is my appraisal for what I'm purchasing has officially came back. Now, if you have followed my last couple videos, you do know that I'm purchasing a broken bow cabin, and not just any broken bow cabin. Initially, what I wanted to do was purchase 2 investment properties with the proceeds from this sale. Well, things kind of got moved around a little bit, and I decided to increase my budget when it came to this property, and instead of buying just a small, cute 1-bedroom cabin, now I'm buying a cabin that's nearly 3,000 square feet. It's got over 2,500 square feet of deck, and it's gonna sleep up to 16 people. Now, the perk here is obviously the upside in Broken Bow and Ho Chi Town. It's a booming market. An entire casino is being built there. If you're not familiar, it's a great place to be able to take a long weekend or just a good staycation up in Oklahoma. And the good news is it's only a couple hours away from where I'm actually living in Dallas, Texas. Now, when I was comparing other short-term rental markets, for instance, I was looking at Breckenridge up in Colorado for a condo to be able to go up to, enjoy a long weekend, be able to snowboard, take the dogs with me. But then I started to realize that the return wasn't going to be as great. Also, the other downside of short-term rentals, especially if I'm wanting to be able to take my dogs with me, is everything is substantially far away. Now, everything's real close to Texas if you decide to fly, but unfortunately, I'm not flying with my dogs. So the beauty here was being able to take my dogs up for really any weekend I want to. And again, it's a short drive away. Now, another perk to buying this commercial property is it's technically going to be my second commercial property. What I'm sitting in and filming in here is my editing and filming studio and my first commercial property that I purchased for my real estate team. But the beauty there is I'm able to rent out the other units as well as rent out this studio for a good amount of money back to pay my mortgage. In this case, I'm going to be able to rent it out on Airbnb or VRBO or just any short-term rental website and obviously make a good amount of money back that way. But on the flip side too, because I'm building my real estate company and I've got a good network here, I can technically double dip. Now, what I'm talking about when I mention double dipping is the fact that I personally am going to be owning it through one LLC of KMAC Rentals. It's the same LLC that owns this commercial property, and my real estate company pays rent. When it comes to my short-term rental cabin up in Broken Bow, KMAC Rentals, again, is going to be the owner of that property. But the good news is KMAC Realty Group, which is my local real estate team, can actually have events and weekends up at the cabin, and I can write it off as a business expense. So obviously, income coming in is great, right? If you decide to rent my Broken Bow cabin, I'm gonna be paid rent or I'm gonna be paid a certain amount of money, but the downside is I'm going to be taxed on that money, right? That money is obviously gonna be going towards maintaining the cabin as well as paying my mortgage and then a little bit of cash flow. Well, if you're talking about being able to double dip, you're now getting income but also having an expense with your business. So let's just use a round number of $1,000. Obviously, I think my nightly rate on this is gonna be between $400 and $600. So you see the huge upside here, especially during the busy seasons. But just for simple math, I'm gonna use $1,000 as an example. If I get paid $1,000, I'm gonna be taxed on that $1,000, assuming that I don't have any expenses to write off. Now that $1,000, how much am I going to be taxed on? That all depends on my taxable income bracket. That varies from person to person, but let's just use a safe number of 25%. 25 to 30% is probably what I'm going to be looking at in terms of what I'm going to be taxed about. So on $1,000, if you rented my place, I would technically only be making maybe $750, maybe on the low end $700. Now on the flip side here with double dipping, instead my real estate company can rent it out instead for $1,000, and that's going to be a $1,000 expense for my real estate team. That basically reduces the taxable income of my real estate team down by $1,000. It increases my taxable income for KMAC Rentals, which is my rental property LLC, by $1,000. And it basically, at the end of the day, is a complete wash. So the income that is generated from my real estate team renting out my cabin up in Broken Bow, which I'm probably planning to do 3 to 4 times a year, just for different events, as well as top producer events, as well as family events, so on and so forth. Those 4 long weekends are going to be a complete wash when it comes to being taxed on my Broken Bow cabin. So really, at the end of the day, there are a ton of reasons why I wanted to jump on this opportunity. Yes, the Broken Bow market would have been great to have invested in years ago, but I can tell you right now, it's still a tremendous place to invest today. The proximity is tremendous for me living in the DFW area. It gives me an opportunity to bring the dogs up, as well as all family and friends locally here, or even people, because I've networked well across the country. If they want a great place to stay and maybe bring their family or friends, it has the opportunity to really service everyone across the country. Now you add in the fact of being able to double dip, as well as leverage myself even further, which I'm a huge fan of leveraging. And let me explain this to you. Again, going back to purchasing the duplex back in 2017, I rolled my commission in and I rolled my closing costs into the purchase. So I bought that duplex in 2017, maybe for a couple $1,000s at closing, and that was probably prepaid taxes and insurance. So prepaid taxes and insurance got rolled essentially into over $1 million cabin in Broken Bow. So that brings me to the title of this video. The title of this video meaning that I invested technically only $15,000 of my own money in this cabin, and the appraisal just came back. Now let me explain this to you. The builder required $5,000 down as a deposit. This is just to assure the builder that he is going to have the opportunity to build on the lot, and the down payment on the lot was only $10,000. So $10,000 down on the lot plus $5,000 down for the builder, a total of $15,000, and I got it under contract for slightly over $1 million. That includes the lot as well as the construction price. Again, guys, I'm going completely commercial on here. It's called a construction loan, where you roll everything into one loan. And guys, the appraisal came back yesterday, and I'm so excited to say, again, commercial loan, construction loan, very conservative appraisal at $1.25 million. So yes, technically it's paper money. I'm not sitting here with $250,000 in front of you guys, but I can tell you, if I built this property, it's probably going to take until the end of the year, maybe beginning of 2023. Based off of what is selling in Broken Bow right now, I could probably sell this for much higher than 1.25. 1.25 was a conservative appraisal using a construction loan with the bank that I'm using. So if I decided to, which I'm obviously not, but if I decided to sell this when it was completed as a brand new home at the start of 2023, I could probably make about 1.45, maybe 1.5 million on this pretty easily, which would bring my total amount that I've made off this property close to $500,000. Now, this is what I talk about with my peers, colleagues, as well as you guys on YouTube, of just how powerful real estate can be. We're talking about a duplex going back to 2017, where only a couple $1,000s invested. I used that money and the proceeds from that as my down payment on this property. Plus, I'm still saving some on the end. I'm going to be netting about 280, close to 300,000 on my duplex when it sells. 210 of it's going towards the down payment on my Broken Bow cabin. Well, 210 down, that's all appreciation and debt pay down from when I owned the duplex. Add in the fact that the Broken Bow cabin just appraised for $250,000 above what I have it contracted for. I'm sitting in a very good position, having really never invested any money whatsoever. So I've made videos before, and I tell people one of the biggest things that they need to do to get started in this is to just buy a house. Now, it isn't 2017, it is 2022. We're in a much different market now than we were in 2017, especially in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Properties were far more affordable back then. I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy a house now, but it is a little bit more concerning now than it was in 2017. But I can tell you, I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't purchase homes and turn them into rental properties. Now, in 2020, I made a ton of video content with me building my dream home. I've been living in there since October of 2020, and I am super happy to continue to be living there. But I can tell you what, guys, I'm going to be bringing you guys a ton of content when it comes to building this cabin, because this cabin. No offense to my dream home right now, but it's gonna put it to shame. So make sure to subscribe, guys. Stay tuned for follow-up videos when it comes to this broken bow cabin. I can tell you, when it is finished, it is going to be incredible. Since we technically haven't closed and obviously haven't started building, I can give you guys a little bit of a glimpse into what my cabin's going to look like. On the far right side, we're gonna have my master suite. That backs up to the kitchen and living room, which on the left-hand side is going to have a second master. Me being an individual that is up early and going to bed early, I wanted my suite far away from where everyone else is going to be. So I actually have a separate addition that is tied with a walkway that leads to the bunk room. Now the bunk room is going to be able to sleep a total of 8 people, and outside the bunk room is 2 more guest suites on the other side of the house. And as I said earlier, we're gonna have a huge deck in the back for a bunch of entertainment purposes, as well as a jacuzzi and a pool spa. All of this is going to obviously take some time. I'm hoping end of the year, but likely beginning of 2023. But again, guys, stay tuned. I'm gonna have all of that and more on my channel to come. So again, guys, make sure to like and subscribe. It really does help, and stay tuned for the next video.